Hello everyone, peace of Christ to all. Today we will have, I hope today I did not give you too much information which can give you some headache, but I think it's a video, you can watch it anytime, and I advise people to download my videos and save them for their own reference. Today we'll talk about the fabrication of fasting in Islam. You know, is fasting something established in Islam based on Muhammad God, or Muhammad was looking for a way to make himself look like he is a real religion? We know that the Muslims, they fast the month of Ramadan, and we spoke before, we said Ramadan have nothing to do with Muslims. But today we will concentrate in something more important. What Muhammad used to do before he practiced Ramadan. Muhammad, first, he used to practice Ramadan for the first 40 years of his life, which means before he claimed to be prophet, as a pagan man. The Quran confirms that Muhammad, he do not know what is faith, and he have no idea what is faith, and he was a kafir. If you go in chapter 2 verse 183, you will see the Quran confirm that the Quran practicing or ordering practicing fasting, because this is an obligation was given to people before Islam. Now, who are those people who practice this fasting? So you fast because people before you, they fast. But who are those people who fast before Islam? For sure, right away what will come to your mind, the Christians, the Jews, and whoever around Muhammad. But the fact, this is not only people who practice fasting. The people of Quraysh, the tribe of Muhammad, the Arab, the Bedouin, they practice fasting too, which means even the pagan, they have fasting. The Sabians, who they are originally coming from the city of Haran. If you remember that Abraham, he came from close from the city of Haran. And if you remember, in the beginning of Muhammad's life, Muhammad himself was called Sabian. He was called Sabian. Let us see if we can make this one go smaller so we can show it in the screen. All right. So Muhammad the Sabian, if you remember when Muhammad, he sent some of his men to look for water, and then they saw a woman, and the woman, she said to the Abduls, the one you are talking about, you want to take me to? They asked her, where you get this water from? She told them. So they said, okay, is that the Sabian? Is this guy? I'm trying to shrink the, for some reason, because the hadith is not coming correctly. Let us see here. This is became too small. All right. We want to show you in the screen. I guess still is not showing. Let us see if we do this. All right, here we go. Finally, you will see that when they told the women to come and meet Muhammad, and actually this hadith here is different story, sorry, but this is about when people, they convert to Islam, they say to them, did you become a Sabian? Then the man, he said, no, by Allah, I have embraced Islam. So the Muslim trying to give themselves the identity of being Muslims, but everybody knew that they are Sabian. But what make people think that those people are not Muslims, they are Sabian? Because simply Muhammad, he was practicing exactly what the Sabians do. So Muhammad the Sabian, he copied a lot of things from the Sabians, including 30 days fasting from the sun rays to sunset, and all the practice of Ramadan. But there is more than this in this story. And today we want to focus on something called the day of Ashura, which is the fasting exists before Ramadan. So you will see here with me, Muhammad is focusing in finding fasting. He want to make a fasting for his new religion, and he don't want it to look like he is copying others. But in the same time, he is empty. He have nothing. His God did not give him a day of fasting. His God Allah did not give him an order to fast. According to Muslims, when Muhammad he was ordered to practice Ashura, the day of Ashura, there was no fasting whatsoever, and except the fasting which they used to practice copying others. As an example, the fasting of Arafah. And we will make a video about this fasting too. But today we want to focus about the fasting of Ashura. The fasting of Ashura, as you see, Muhammad he said, the one is talking is Muhammad himself. Fasting the day of Ashura, I hope will expel, will delete your sin for the previous year. And actually, I hope is not really truly a correct answer. He said ahtasibu, which means I believe by Allah that this day will delete all your sin for the previous year. In different hadith, Muhammad he said that this is will delete your sin for the year before and the year after. So this day is very important, extremely important. The question is, what happened to this day? How did this day come to exist in the religion of Islam, and why Muhammad started fasting it? Like, did Muhammad receive an order from his God Allah to fast Ashura? The answer, no. Nowhere, no way Muhammad he received an order from his God, not even from Jibreel. And here I ask myself the question, if Jibreel never told Muhammad to fast Ashura, if Allah never told Muhammad to fast Ashura, so Muhammad he got the authority to establish this day of fasting based on what? You know, if I am a prophet and I decide to inform you that we should fast in certain day, you as a follower, aren't you going to ask me why this day? I mean, what's wrong? What's like, why this day? Why not different day? And why it's called the Ashura? Then we find in the hadith that Muhammad again is copying this day from others. In front of us there is a story. Abu Abdul Rahman here it says it is the day of Ashura and you are eating. Upon this he said, fast was observed this day before the fasting of Ramadan was made obligatory. So Ramadan was not the fast of Muslims, it was the fast of Ashura. How the month of Ramadan come to exist, and why it was not exist for Muhammad, and how the day of Ashura was exist and is replaced by the day of Ramadan, by the month of Ramadan. And as long the month of Ramadan, one day of Ramadan is equal to 1 year of sin, as you see. Muhammad saying clearly that one day of Ramadan of Ashura is going to forgive the past year sin. That means this day is extremely important, and it doesn't make sense that this day is not needed no more, and you are free to fast or not, and the Muslims forget about it. What happened? Why Muhammad is saying such a statement, and where Muhammad he got this information that the day of Ashura is equal to 1 year of sin, which means is going to delete 1 year of sin for you.
The Prophet said, "Fast the day of Ashura, for indeed I anticipate that Allah will forgive the sins of the year before it."
Was Muhammad fabricating his statement? Obviously he did, because this is a day is not given to him from Allah. It's not Jibreel who told him to fast. It was a copy paste from people before him. In this hadith here, you will see Muhammad is exaggerating even more about the day of Arafah as an example. So here we have another day of fasting, and this day will recover or will delete your sin for the year before and the year after.
Fasting on the day of Arafah, I hope from Allah, expiates for the sins of the year before and the year after.
Alright. Now, if Ashura delete the year before, if Ashura, that day, delete the sin for the year before, so what the benefit of the day of Arafah? The day of Arafah have more powerful forgiveness. You fast it, you are going to be forgiven for the coming sin of the coming year, and this is madness. I fast this day and I do the coming sin, the coming year, all the sin I want, and my sin is forgiven. And the Muslim, the funny, they say that the Christian, they believe that Jesus he paid for their sin, and this is the stupidity of Muslims. When Jesus, we say he paid for our sin, which means he don't deserve to be suffering for our sake, but he, because of our sin, because of the sin of Adam, because of our sin today, he came to save us. That's all. Doesn't mean we have a free license for sin. Absolutely not. This is why Jesus, he said, not everyone says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of my Father, but the one who will do his will. So we Christian, we don't have a free license for sin. It is you Muslims, because as you see, you fast 1 day, the sin before it is forgiven, the sin for a year before is forgiven, and the sin for a year after is forgiven. And this is a Sahih hadith, as you see. Then we continue. Then we find that Ashura is a pure pagan practice. And here I have a question for the Muslims. For those who depend on Islamic books to get their information, can we trust Islamic books? I challenge any Muslim to say to me yes. It's a challenge. Based on this book, it says that during the pre-Islamic period of ignorance, Quraysh used to observe the fasting of the day of Ashura. Hold on. If those people are ignorant and they are observing Ashura, you are ignorant too, to follow the ignorant? Why you are following the ignorant? However, you will see, it says here, that when the month of Ramadan was revealed, the fasting of Ashura is deleted. They give it up. But how you give it up if 1 day of this fasting is going to heal your sin or delete your sin for the last year? What happened? So Muhammad, he found something better. He said to himself, you know what, let us go back to the Ramadan. Ramadan is more, make more sense. So I'm going to practice Ramadan, and I forget about this one. And he forgot all the promises he made about Ashura, and suddenly Ashura became a garbage. It's not important. But here Ashura is the day of Quraysh. Hold on. In different hadith, Ashura is the day of the Jews, not the day of Quraysh. In this hadith, if you see in the front of you with me here, it says the Messenger of Allah he was talking about Ashura. Ibn Abbas reported that when the Messenger of Allah may blah 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 fasted on the day of Ashura and commanded that it should be observed as fast, they, his companions, said, hold on, what the heck? What happened? What they said? Let us see what they said.
Messenger of Allah, it is a day which the Jews and Christians hold in high esteem. Thereupon the Messenger of Allah said, when the next year comes, God willing, we would observe fast on the 9th, but the Messenger of Allah died before the advent of the next year.
Hold on. He ordered the Muslims to observe the month, the day of Ashura. The hadith before it, which I just showed you, it says that the people who observed that day, it was the people of Quraysh. And people of Quraysh are not the Christians and not the Jews. Those are pagans. But in this hadith, there's a contradiction. It is the Jewish and the Christians. And the follower of Muhammad, he said to him, but this is a day which the Christian and the Jews, they celebrate. So Muhammad was copying from who? So if we ask the Muslims, what is the origin of Ashura? They will give you 1,000 answers. None of them fit with the other. As you see in the same book, the same reference, one hadith says it was something coming from Quraysh. The other one saying it was something coming from the Christians and from the Jews. So which one is the correct one? And the funny, all of them, they are called Sahih, which is showing us that Muhammad is a fabricator. Now here, you will notice Muhammad, he made a false prophecy. I don't want to forget to speak about this. Muhammad, he says, in the coming year we will fast in the 9th. But the messenger, he did not make it for the coming year. So he gave a false prophecy about him. He will be fasting for the coming year in this day. It's a false prophecy. And he claimed to be a prophet. Then we continue. Here we learn where Muhammad, he got the day of Ashura. When the Prophet arrived at the Medina, he noticed that some people among the Jews used to respect Ashura, i.e. the 10th of Muharram. Muharram is a month, and fast on it. The Prophet then said, we have more right to observe fast this day, on this day, and he ordered the fasting should be observed on it. Hold on, let us connect the dots together. The Jews, Muhammad, he just learned from the Jews that this is a day the Jews, they observed in the city of Al-Medina. What is the day they observed? It is in the 10th of the month of Muharram. Now let us go back to the hadith before it, in case you forgot. When the Muslim, they said to him, but this is the day the Jews and the Christian, they respect a lot. Muhammad, right away, he came with a decision to change the day from the 10th to the 9th, and supposedly that will make a difference. Obviously, he felt they are accusing him of copy-paste of those people without a reason. And now supposedly he is not the same, he is not copying from them. He said, okay, from the coming year we will fast in the day of 9th, which means before that date, before that year, Muhammad was fasting the same as every Jew at the day of the 10th.
When the Prophet arrived at Medina, he noticed that some people among the Jews used to respect Ashura, that is 10th of Muharram, and fast on it. The Prophet then said, we have more right to observe fast on this day, and ordered that fasting should be observed on it.
So we have more right to fast in it, which was a private decision, have nothing to do with God. Muhammad, he is God. He is the guy who decides which day we fast, which day we don't fast. Have nothing to do with God. Shouldn't Muhammad receive an order from his God to make such a law to practice? Because remember, where Muhammad he say it's an obligation, that's it. He ordered to fast it. As you see in front of your eyes, says an order that fasting should be observed. And then when they accuse him, or let us say even his followers, they felt there is something fishy here. Like, come on, isn't it this is the same day the Jews and the Christians they highly respected? Muhammad he said, okay, since the coming month, the coming year, we will start to practice it in the 9th. And supposedly now he is not following the Jews and the Christians. So look, we have hadith saying to us that this is a practice of Quraysh, from the pre-ignorant Quraysh, the pagan Quraysh. Muhammad is copying from them. Then we have hadiths speaking of that this is something the Jews and the Christians they practice, and Muhammad, in order to cover his scam copying from others, when they said to him this is the day they respect too much respect, and we find out which date it is the 10th of Muharram. So Muhammad he decided to change the date from the 10th to the 9th. Now if I'm a Muslim, can I trust those books? Because there's a contradiction. Secondly, this is confirmed that Muhammad is a fake prophet, fabricating his own fasting when he want, and he delete the fasting when he want. So Ramadan, when he ordered them to do Ramadan, suddenly this day is garbage day, is not important. You want to fast it, you don't fast it, it's up to you. And it's not the day forgive your sin no more. And in order to just to hide that where he got it from, he say, well, you know what, who said that we have to fast this day? We do not need to do so. I mean, it's okay, it's not obligation no more. Remember when Muhammad always when Muhammad he copy and he feel guilty, he always order his followers to change the way they do things so they will not look like they are copying from the Jews and the Christians. As you remember here, there's a hadith where Muhammad was praying in a funeral on a Muslim guy.
The Messenger of Allah used to stand up for a funeral until the corpse was placed in the grave. A learned Jew once passed him and said, "This is how we do." The Prophet sat down and said, "Sit down and act differently from them."
What? The Prophet, he always stand up when he is doing the funeral prayer. A Jew, he walked by, he said, "This is how we do it." Muhammad, he said, sit down, okay, sit down, let us make it different. This is not an act of a prophet. So when you were standing up doing the prayer, was it the right way? It was wrong. And what scare the hell of you to change right away the way you pray? And then you say to them, why you are asking them to sit down? Because sit down, let us do it different from the way they do it. Because obviously I'm copying them. So Muhammad, he feel guilty. Otherwise, so what if he says to you, this is how we do it? Why Muhammad need to change the way he pray just because a guy he said this is how we do it? And how easy to change the way of a prayer for Muhammad? Just because someone he told you this is how we do it, you change it? So it's not because what is right and what Allah told you or what the angel taught you, it's just because somebody told you this is how we do it. And as long this is how they do it, then we have to change it. Otherwise everybody will notice that we are copying it from those who they do it in this way, or this is how we do it. So Muhammad always as you see all of those in front of us, it says act different from them. You have to act different from them. This is why Muhammad, the day, you know, the Saturday for the Jews, Sunday for the Christians, Muhammad, he have to find a day, and the Muslim, they have to find a day, and we have to make it different. This is why he said, okay, let us do it Friday then. And this is the same for Muhammad using the adhan. How the adhan come to exist when they call for the prayer? Because some of the Muslims, they said to him, let us use the bell like the Christians. Muhammad, he said to them, no, the bell is the sound, is the music of the devil, so the Christians are satanic. And then he told them that you know the angels will not enter a house have a bell in it. All right, they will not enter, which is very weird. And then the angels will not even accompany the traveler who have with him a dog and a bell. So having a dog with a bell with you, that's no, and the angels, they are going to leave you alone. It's a weakness spot in the angels of Allah. They have a weakness, what you can do. You know, every angel has a weakness. Like some men, they have weakness with women. Some men, they have weakness with money. Some angels, they have weakness with bell, and the angels of Islam, obviously, they have weakness with the bell and the dog. A little dog, little puppy can defeat them, and the angel will run away. And you know, and then we will find that Muhammad, he says that when he received his inspiration from his God, the inspiration come to him in the sound of a bell. How you just told us that the bell is the music of the devil, and then you say to us that you yourself, you receive your inspiration as a sound of a bell. I thought it is the music of the devil. So you obviously you are receiving from the devil music inspiration. Read with me. I'm not making things up. Abdul, read again. Here we go. The hadith before it. Abu Hurairah reported the Apostle of Allah, SAWS, I don't know what does that mean, so as saying the bell is the wind musical instrument of shaitan. That's wonderful. Now we found here that Muhammad himself, he received his inspiration as a sound of the bell, and that means Muhammad is receiving his inspiration from the devil himself. As you see here,
Al-Harith bin Hisham asked the Prophet, how does the divine inspiration come to you? He replied, in all these ways. The angel sometimes comes to me with a voice which resembles the sound of a ringing bell, and when this state abandons me, I remember what the angel has said, and this type of divine inspiration is the hardest on me, and sometimes the angel comes to me in the shape of a man and talks to me, and I understand and remember what he says.
Alright, so the angels come to Muhammad in different ways, but the most harsh inspiration, the most difficult one, is the one who come in the sound of the bell, and it make Muhammad so tired and so weak and faint and exhausted. And this is telling us why Muhammad, he used to always to faint, because obviously Muhammad, he is suffering from illness, and this illness include kind of madness. Actually, this illness, I'm not a doctor, but this illness have for sure have a name. I advise everybody to watch a movie. It's called, I think, the Perfect Host, something like this, about a guy who imagine things happening around him. He write letters to himself. He see people who are invited to his house. He have sex with women who they are in his house, but the fact nobody at home. He have a total life delusion by his own. And obviously Muhammad, he is delusionate to the point he could not recognize what is inspiration, what is not, and inspiration coming to him in the sound of a bell. Question to the Muslims: as long the angels are speaking to him with the sound of a bell, how Muhammad understand the language? If I ring for you a bell right now, how you understand anything of it? And why the angels is coming to Muhammad with the sound of a ringing bell? What does that mean? And how we can fix this with the problem or the hadith where it says that the bells are the sound or the instrument of the devil or shaitan. There's tons of questions. And remember, before we finish, Muhammad, he always imagined things happening to him, but the fact they never happen, including having sex. As you see, the Prophet was bewitched so that he began to imagine that he had done a thing which in fact had not done. How Muhammad, he imagined things happen to him, but in fact he never did those things. If you go to the court and you have a paper with you from the doctor saying that you are a person who imagined things happen to you, but in fact they never happened, the court will not accept you to be a witness. How we can accept Muhammad to be a prophet when he himself is not sure of what he hear? How we can accept Muhammad saying to us that if you are praying, you should not leave the prayer unless you hear the sound of your fart? Isn't it obvious that this guy is crazy, as you see in front of you? In this hadith, Aisha, she's saying, the Prophet continues for such and such a period of time, alright, that he has slept with his wives, has sexual relationship with his wives, and in fact he did not, as you see in front of you. Question: how we can trust a man to be witnessing for us, to witness for God, when he himself cannot be a witness for a normal life with his wife and his wives, and he imagined himself having sex, but the fact he never did?
The Prophet continued for such and such period imagining that he has slept, had sexual relations with his wives.
So Muhammad, when he imagined himself having sex with his wife, he was doing what exactly? Holding the goat? The pillow? Remember, those things happen not when he is asleep, they happen when he is awake. And that again confirmed that Muhammad, he have a mental illness. The Muslim, they claim that this is bewitched, and this is again additional proof that Muhammad is a false prophet, because bewitched is a false thing. There's nothing is called, we as a Christian, we believe that there is some people that they work as witches, but we do not believe in witches, which means some people they believe in practicing magic, but we don't believe in magic. This is why when Moses went to the Pharaoh, the men of Pharaoh, they thought that Moses' magic is better than their magic. But nowhere in the Bible it teaches that we believe in magic. Magic is a fabrication, is a fiction. So Muhammad, he told them that there is magic, and he's trying to prove that he is not sick. He is okay, but the problem, the magic is targeting him. And the funny Muhammad, look like this video will never end. I'm trying to finish it. Muhammad, he told them that if you eat 7 ajwa, huh? 7 ajwa, no poison can affect you, and no magic can control you. As you see, Allah Apostle said, he who eats 7 ajwa is palm tree date fruit, every morning will not be affected by poison or magic. And guess what? Muhammad, he was infected by both. He died by poison, and as you see in the hadith before it, he imagined himself having sex with his wife because of magic, as the Muslims claim. So how this guy can be legitimate prophet in any way, in any mean? False fasting, copy paste of others, trying to fabricate religion, making a promises that if you fast this day will forgive the whole year before and the year after, and then he come with other day, and he come with the new fasting, and he delete the old fasting, and nobody told him to do that except he is copying the Jew, and he is copying the people of Quraysh. And which one is the one is a correct? Is this day belong to Quraysh, or this day belong to the Christian and the Jews? And it is, if it was in the 9, if it was in the 10th, as the Jews they celebrate, Muhammad, he changed it to the 9. I mean, all of this proven to us that this guy is fake. If God, he told him to fast Ashura, if this has happened, you cannot change the date. just because your followers they told you, but this is the day where the Jews they celebrate it in the 10th, so that's it, you just change the date? Simply because he is fabricating a religion. He is an aftermarket, a counterfeit of any religion around, not only Christian, not only Jews. Islam is a collection of a false religion. This is why Ramadan had nothing to do with the Muslims. Ramadan is a pagan month, and actually I will post an article here underneath so you can see where Ramadan is coming from, and maybe some other time we will talk about the slaughter of animals and sacrifice which Muslims they practice in the month of Ramadan, at the end of Ramadan. Actually there is let us see here. Yeah, like there is tons of reference. This is an article made by Dr. Rafat Ammari. He's a doctor in history, I believe, and this article is very good. I advise you to read it, all of you, and I will post it under this video. And I hope you guys are enjoying our videos. I'm working in my book, but in every few hours I take a break to make a video for you, and it makes me happy to share knowledge and to occupy you with knowledge. I will post the reference of what we spoke of under the video, so please save them, make your own folders, and if you copy my video, copy the reference too, please. And don't forget to put underneath the link for my video so people they can find out the account of the Arabian Prophet. However, there's always an easy way to find my page. Simply you can go to this website, which is supposedly the donation website. When I remind people how to do it, you can go here. There's an option where you see here Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So always you can click at this link, which is betteryouan.com Christian Prince, .com/Christian Prince. I will post the link underneath. And always, if you copy my video, please post this link, and people they will be able to find my YouTube if there's any update, and my Twitter and my Facebook immediately, and that will make you do not need to copy all of those. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to give it a thumb, and if you're a Muslim, it's okay. I understand if you give it a finger. It's okay. I understand. Alright? Christ is Lord. Islam is false. Thank you.